G'day humans, Chris Stead here. I'm on the road today. I'm in Papeete in Tahiti, French Polynesia. I'm about to jump on Sea Breeze, which is a Windstar cruise. It's doing the Dreams of Tahiti cruise, which takes you out to all the islands, 7 days. Going to be seeing a lot. And in this video, I'm going to take you on a full tour of not just the cruise ship, but also the actual route that we're doing, and all the experiences, the shore excursions that I'm doing, what the actual Windstar cruise is like, because I've never been on one before. So you're going to learn all about it in this particular video. So make sure you hang with me, because I think this is going to be really, really good. I've never been on one before, as I said, and I'm just about to jump on board. I've only just arrived in the port, haven't been on yet. So let's get over there, get on it, and yeah, I reckon start living it up. Let's go. Alright, got my key. So check-in was pretty smooth. There's not too many people here with these small ships, but yeah, just called me up and checked me in there pretty quick. Just took my credit card and showed them passport, and they hand out your keys here, so you don't have to go up to, so you can go straight to your room when you get in, which is great. No waiting around. Let's get on board. Righto then, well, we'll start down here on deck 3, which is the lowest you're going to go. And here's a spiral staircase. So you actually board, right when we first boarded, we boarded on floor 4. And this is pretty much the extent of kind of the, I guess, open foyer area. So on the bigger cruises, you walk into basically shopping mall districts and huge gangways of space and so forth. But not on these smaller ship cruises. You just get this really funky and awesome spiral staircase that goes up through the kind of end of the ship, and that is your entry to the world of Windstar Star Breeze. Now down on floor 3, there's 2 significant things to note. We've got the main restaurant. This is the one that's kind of, you don't have to book, you can turn up at any single time. Amphora Restaurant, and they've got a menu which changes as the cruise goes on, and we'll go have a look in here. So plenty of space down here. I'm pretty sure they could probably fit everybody on the cruise ship in here at the same time if they wanted to, but there are other restaurants as we'll go through on this tour. But nice bright space. You know, sometimes the restaurants on cruise ships can be really dim and dark and moody, but here, pretty easy to see. Looks fine, nice simple decor, not anything outrageous, but still really nice. Got some chandeliers, got some bigger tables, got some booths, and most of the nights that I've been in here, you know, it's been really rocking. And it's the same people that will serve you in this restaurant that will serve you upstairs on the veranda at lunch, and will serve you breakfast. So it's the familiar faces that you keep on seeing, and that's definitely a huge part of the Windstar experience, is absolutely the way that everybody knows you, knows who you are, even remembers the coffee that you like, and you know, the drinks that you like, and the wine that you like, and so forth. So yeah, that's the main restaurant, and probably where you're going to end up having a decent chunk of your dinners, although there's nothing stopping you from booking in just the other options as well. Now through here, you've also got the tender gangway. So this is where you'll get on and off the ship. So there's the elevators right here. So you can get up and down. So if we look at this cross section of the ship, there's actually elevators and staircases pretty evenly along, of different sizes, to get to where you need to be. Alright, let's go back to that staircase. Because the way that the ship is built, the floor plan is basically accommodation goes down one end and the staircase goes down the other. So up the staircase is where you're going to find your restaurants, your clubs, pretty much everything till you get to the top deck. And then down the hallways is where you're going to find your rooms. Now, actually, it's a pretty good place to show you. If you haven't been on a small ship before, you can see, like, it's not very wide. So that's one side there, and that's the other side there. So this dining literally spans the width of the ship, so it's a good idea. You can really see how wide it is. All right? So when we get upstairs in a second, I'll show you the hallway that goes down to the rooms, because it's really kind of interesting that there's only one central hallway and all of the rooms just go left or right, basically starboard or port. So we'll come up here. I do really love this staircase. It's got one unfunctional bit at the top, but otherwise it's a thing of beauty. Right. Yeah, so I haven't had to wait for the elevators as much at all. I believe there's 245 people on board. They said the average is about 280 in peak season, so it's pretty full, really. So you can see here, that's a hallway. My room's actually down there, so we'll get to that later. But it's just one thoroughfare down the middle of the ship, and it makes it a lot easier to navigate and work your way around than those bigger cruise ships. Now, so obviously, well, I'll go down and show you the room later, but there's no point walking up and down these hallways, they're all the same. Now, up here, we have floor 5. We've got reception on this side, which will help you out with all of their bits and pieces. Had to go there a few times for just little accounts worries. Internet stopped working a couple of times. They all sorted out pretty quick. I don't think I've ever seen a queue there. And over here you got the destinations, which is open at different times of the day, because the people manning this desk also run the destination. So when people are out doing things, this is closed. And then they'll have hours that kind of operate on the extremes of that for you to sort things out. You can pretty much book anything in and cancel it within, I think it's 12 hours probably of when it actually departs. So it's pretty good that they're that flexible, actually, I thought. Hey mate, have a quick look over here. See the distance sailed. And the location, pretty cool. Now down here we have the lounge, which I haven't really seen used as a lounge, to be honest. They can obviously set up for singing and shows and so forth, but we're in port so often, and I've done so many excursions that I really haven't, there hasn't been much in the way of shows that I've gone and seen. It's obviously set up for it. They did host the highlight event of the entire trip in here though, which was the staff talent show. And it was absolutely awesome. I think everybody on the cruise turned up for it because all the staff had been talking about it, and we turned up and they just put on such a show, such an incredibly talented bunch of people. It was just so much fun. Everybody got into it, and it all unfolded in this lounge. And whatever happens if you go on a Windstar cruise, don't miss the staff talent party. I think everyone I spoke to agreed that it was one of the big highlights of the ship and really brought home just how important a part of the Windstar experience the staff are, and the relationship that you form with them, and being able to celebrate them and watch them have such a great time and show off their talents was epic. plenty of space again, but this is where you're going to meet every single morning and mid-morning for your excursions, whether you're going on morning or afternoon or both. And they'll come up, do a little bit of presentation, explain to you about the port. You can come in here at night before, and they'll tell you about the next day and just give you information and show you movies and pictures and just so you know what's going on. So that all kind of goes on in here. And in the morning you get up and you walk down to that tender and off you go, depending on where it is. Hey mate. So that's the lounge. Now, down through here is a secret exit that takes you down to the water sports platform, which is pretty epic. So, it's locked off at the moment, it's not open. But you go down there and you can, they fold out these inflatable mats that go out the back of the ship, and you can sunbake on them, jump on them, dive in the water, explore. They've got kayaks, they've got life vests, they've got paddle boards, all kinds of stuff. You can't go fishing off it, and I don't like you snorkeling off it either, but it's usually too deep to snorkel anyway. But it's such a cool thing. It just hasn't been open enough. It's only been really one place that we've been where they really opened it up and people lay out there all day. I'm surprised it's not open today since they're all on a ship, but I think it's because they've got a big feast on tonight, and I think all their staff are focused on that, plus it's quite windy today. So I'm assuming that's why it hasn't been open today, and hopefully it's open one more time before we go, because I'd really like to do it. Again, because it was really fun. Such a cool idea. Okay, now we have a little room over here. I'll just see if make sure presentation's not on, screening room. Right, yeah. So they do presentations in here, teach you a few bits and pieces. Mostly it's been like future Windstar cruises, things that you might be able to do in terms of excursions, so forth. As far as I'm aware, they don't use it to just show a movie. But they've got chess tables and stuff in here, so I'm guessing you can use it for a bit of a space to get away if you want to. I haven't actually found a need to come in here other than to film it. Righto. So, down there, again, as you can see, another hallway. It disappears off towards more accommodation options and more rooms. Although the rooms, once you get to the floor 5 and on floor 6, the rooms have little kind of Juliet balconies, just enough to stand on, get a photo, not really sit at. Whereas on floor 4, it's just a big window and there's no rooms below that. Now, here's one of the restaurants that you can book. So it doesn't cost any more to book there. It's not like specialty dining in the sense that you have to pay extra. But you do have to get a booking because there's not too much space in there. And they do like a fusion of Mediterranean and Oriental. So actually, quick correction, I was just looking. There is a couple of suites down on deck 3. So they'll only be porthole windows. So it looks like there's 9 suites down there. You'll also might notice Kudrow 44 as a restaurant option. That's obviously just been replaced. You can actually see right here, like literally it must have just happened. So the Basil and Bamboo has taken over the Kudrow 44. If you're wondering why the restaurant you may have heard of didn't turn up on my tour. Alright, so then we've got the Star Boutique over here, which is the only shop, as far as I'm aware, it's the only one I've found, on the ship, selling various Tahitian and Windstar nicks and knacks. Watches, pearls, hey mate, clothes. So there's the shop, and then down here, actually some pretty cool artwork here and there, and also photos that they've got on the walls and so forth. So here we have the Compass Rose, which is the main, I guess, night bar. So you can come down here at night after all the shenanigans are finished on the deck and so forth, and serve your drinks. And there's usually musicians, as you can see, playing up here, and lots of people gather around having a lot of fun. It's got a nice atmosphere in here, lots of comfortable seats, it's always space. It's got this beautiful view at the back as well, as you can see, but they don't really do day stuff, you know. It's not like, you know, it's not like there's trivia and then karaoke and then all that kind of stuff that the bigger cruise ships do constantly. So these kind of spaces, as far as I'm aware, I don't think there's been anything on here during the day. But like I said, I've been doing excursions every single day, so I may have missed one or two little bits and pieces that happened when I wasn't here. But anyway, that's the space. Pretty nice. I hope you agree. Okay. So this is floor 6. Let's head up to floor 7, which is where we're starting to get into the deck. And you know, as I said before, there's this one non-functional bit of the staircase, otherwise it's really beautiful, and this is it. So that's the main restaurant, which is called Veranda during breakfast and lunch, and then Candles, where it becomes a sit-down dinner place at night. And you come up the top of the stairs, you can't get to it. So you've got to go out and then go back in. It's just a bit of a curiosity, right? So let's have a look at the breakfast buffet on the Windstar Star Breeze. So this is the Veranda restaurant in the mornings, and then it becomes Candles at night for dinner, which is a reservation, not a specialty dining, you have to pay extra, but you got to reserve it. Anyway, in the mornings it's breakfast. So in this side, they always seem to have salads, fruits, cold foods, like so. A couple of nice drinks, it's like a chocolate of some sort, and you get some pretty nice cereals, The granola's really good through here. You can get cafe coffee from here.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Have fun.
Good morning, mate. Over this side you got your savoury, so rolls, donuts. That muffin looks pretty good. I might have to go down today. It's pretty similar. It seems to be pretty similar each morning. You got some juices, cold meat. So you got smoked salmon there, ham, pastrami. A couple of more kiddie cereals up here. Some plant-based food. Eggs, porridge. So when you sit down at the table, you can then order eggs and so forth a la carte. Different types of toasts. This morning we've got poached eggs and tomato sauce here today. Some smash avo. And any traditional kind of hot foods. A different type of sausage today, looks of it. And then just around here, just some basic drink things. And I'll show you the seating. So not the world's biggest buffet, certainly a lot smaller than the big ships. But the fact that you can order what you want from the menu is the difference, right? So you've got the basic kind of, I don't think the hot food selections on the buffet is that great. But then you can order the stuff that you want.
Morning, Chris.
Morning, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
And then you've got all the outdoor seating out there. Hey mate. So you can sit all the way out there. And that's kind of where I've been sitting. It's really nice out there looking out over the back of the boat. And I'll quickly show you what the menu offers. So a few different options there. And they will of course give you a beverage if you want, including a Bloody Mary, which I might actually do today. shake off the cobwebs. But yeah, pretty awesome, isn't it? Asparagus to go with my parmesan herb bread and my special salt. It's looking good. Don't know if I got room for it. Invariably at least half the seats are under cover of sun, and you get this spectacular view off the back of the ship. And when they do get the water sports stuff out, that's where it's happening down there. You can see it kind of coming off the back of the boat. Alright, so that is where you're going to eat most of your food. Now I will say I haven't been I was a little bit surprised when I first got on board, because I've done bigger ships prior to this, and the sheer amount of food options is just ridiculous. And then you go on a smaller ship like this and the buffet's just not as big. There's just not that as much variety and choice. But the food's been really yummy, and the service has been pretty quick. There's always been stuff available. Like, you know, whenever you go there, there's surplus amounts for everyone. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the food experience. I wouldn't say I've been blown away like you can be on some of the specialty dining that you get on other cruises, where it's just like, wow, next level. But I've certainly been well fed, and there's been a good mix of quality foods. I had some marlin today. Oh geez, it was good. All right. So here is the main deck. So we'll go for a little bit of a walk around. But as you can see, lots and lots and lots of sun lounges to choose from. Easily dragged around the place whichever way you like. They're all properly cushioned as well. And you've got readily available towels. You'll frequently find things like this around. So if you have a look, you'll just have drinks sitting out for consumption. Water's available. The waiters will come constantly and ask if you want a drink. When I say that, I mean that in a perfectly excellent way. But they're definitely not pushing you, but they're always there. Just, do you want something? Do you need something? Which is great. So there's sort of waterfall effect here, which is neat. And you got this pool, which looks great. It's got this like glass frontage. Hopefully the wind isn't playing too much havoc, but it might. And it's a really nice temperature for Tahiti anyway. So it's like not warm. It's like really refreshing, but not so cold that you just don't want to just sit in it. It's just really shallow. It's only 3.3 feet, so you're not diving into that. You can, however, of course, do plenty of snorkelling and so forth on the Dreams of Tahiti tour, which I'm doing at the moment. And you got a hot tub up here as well, which does bubble if you press the button. It's not a very big tub, as you can probably see. I've been in there with like 6 people, and it was very, very compact. But yeah, so we've got the one hot tub and a rather smallish pool, which has been, I'd say it's been probably more than enough for the 240 odd people that have been on. It's been a couple of times when it's been like a bit of a peak hour, but you could still have a swim, but it's obviously not catered towards kids. And as you've probably already worked out from what I've shown you so far, this is not built to be a family cruise. There isn't a big sports complex or zip lines or kids clubs or anything like that. There are some families on board, and the kids have been absolutely fine. Like they haven't really noticed them almost. In fact, it's worth speaking about the clientele because I was really expecting it to be very predominantly boomers, right? But I was a bit surprised by how many people there are on this cruise in their kind of like 40s and 50s, like my generation. Like at least 30-40%. So I was really happy with that. Now we'll just briefly go down the back of the ship because these two things make so much noise constantly. They never stop. They are, they look cool. I like the design. Yeah, very loud. So not the greatest place to come film. That goes down the staircase. So as a result, pretty much nothing happens back here, as far as I can tell, other than people coming down here for photos, because you obviously get a great view off the back of the ship. And it's great it's not sectioned off. There's nothing I dislike more than getting on a cruise ship and you can't get to the front or the back because it's sectioned off for some high class of passenger. So the fact that you can just get out here and see it all, it's great. Look at that. Bora Bora. Amazing. Okay. So hopefully that wind has just been blowing all day. I've been waiting for it to go down so I could film this tour, but it's just the wind has just not relented. So I do apologise if it's all come out a bit scratchy on the mic. So again, way more sun lounges up here. You don't get the super cool padding. Well, I feel like I've seen it up here though, so maybe they're just taking the padding downstairs because of the wind today. But so this space up here, they've used it a lot. So I think at least half the nights on this particular cruise, they've cleared this whole space here and then held an event. There was a captain's dinner, captain's cocktail greeting night, and then there was a Polynesian dance night where they brought the Polynesian locals on board and they did a dance and a song. They had like there was kids and parents and from the local community. We were on a July 4th. July 4th happened on this ship, and there's predominantly Americans. It's like 119 of the 240 are Americans. So there'll be July 4 party on here as well. So it all happens in this space down here. So they set up bands, they have the music playing, they set up little stools and tables and sometimes seats for everyone to sit at, depending on what the show is, and it all happens on the deck here. So it's good that they have that outdoor experience. And I'm guessing if you've got bad weather, they'll probably use the lounge, but we haven't had that problem, which is great. Okay, now we're heading down towards the other end of the ship. So we're now heading, if you can imagine, the hallway that goes down with all the rooms is behind us. Sorry, is under us. And I'll show you what's down here. try and get out of this wind. Just give me a sec. Actually, I do have to say, the people I've been travelling with, like the other guests, are just been so awesome. It's definitely been a big positive of this ship and the smaller ship experience, is that you get to know so many people, especially with the excursions and the sitting in the, just the one pool and the limited kind of spaces, is that you do see a lot of each other, and everyone's just been so lovely, so awesome. It's just been a really great community experience. And I haven't heard one raised voice or anyone go off or anything. So I just want to point out there is some sunlanders up here. There's only the 4, 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one down here. They're pretty hard to come by. Usually when people get them, they don't really want to give them up, but I have managed to score it once, and it's really lovely. But you can also just come like here. So this is just a kind of couchy, loungy outdoor section, covered as well, which is good. So you're protected from the elements to a certain extent, and the bar's just around the corner here. Now, they've been playing music back there at the moment, so if I have to start overdubbing, it's because I've been copyright infringed. I apologise for that. But I'll show you what's around here. So you've got the, call it the Star Bar. This is where you're predominantly going to get most of your drinks, because obviously it's out and about, and they've had little kind of like post-event experiences up here where people have mingled and they've given away a couple of free drinks and had raffles up here and stuff for free spas and so forth, and that's all kind of going down at this bar, and it's a really nice space. You get a really good view. The whole entire, everyone on the boat can basically fit here in this space. So that's a good fun experience. And here you've got the Star Grill, which is like no shoes, you can eat here if you're wet option. It's buffet-like. It's not, it's usually like similar food each time, usually salads and some lamb roasts and garlic bread, a few desserts. And then when there's nothing really being served, I'll just leave this available to you in case you're still hungry. So you can always come and get something to eat if you want to. Whether that's here or in the Yacht Club, which I'm about to show you. So we might just actually stay up on level 8. And through here, we have the Yacht Club, which is the library / chill out room / board games. There was a lady who set this up on day 1. She's been slowly putting it together, this puzzle. Maybe she's finished it and started again, I don't know. So this is looking at the front of the ship. Really nicely air conditioned, very comfy seats, books, TVs, just a nice space. You can go out the front, so you can get out there if you want to take photos without the window. And so it's just a nice place to come and chill, do a bit of work if you need to, be out of the heat, out of the noise, out of the chaos. And there's a bar down the back here. I don't know if they sell drinks, but they definitely do coffee. I know they do drinks. And again, there's snacks here all day. You can come here for breakfast. You've got breakfast off in the morning, and you just get these little sandwiches. They're really nice, and cakes and a coffee and some fruit and so forth through here. Yeah, I really like this space. I haven't used it that much, but I really like it. Okay. Now, so we are here now. So we started down here. We walked through the restaurant, had a look down here, came up here, went up the stairs, saw everything on the stairs, then came out to the deck, went up the back there, and then we stayed up the top, and now we're about to go down and have a look at the last little bit. Righto. So here we are on deck 7 of Star Breeze. And here's where you're going to find the spa and the fitness centre. World Spa. Which goes through here. Now I did have a spa. I had a massage. The masseur was great. She was fantastic, but the experience was left a little bit to be desired. Because of just the noise going on. There's hair, facials, all the bits and bobs that you could want. And then you've got in here the gym through there, and then like a studio in here for Pilates. And there's a bloke called Robert who's been in there. He's been really awesome and proactive, trying to get people to look after themselves, what they're eating, how they're moving, how they're stretching and stuff. That all goes down in this room over here with the mats and so forth. So that is the Spa and Fitness Centre. One more thing to show you, and that is the front whirlpool. Actually, there's the bridge as well, sorry. I'll bow it down and I'll show you if I can remember how to get to it. There's a whirlpool, as you can see, right on the front of the ship. I must need to go down another floor. You can see this. I like that one, that's a nice piece. Okay, here we go. Deck 5. If you keep going down, so here's the hallway that goes from those stairs all the way down through all the rooms. And this takes us to the whirlpool. And I'll show you this when I do the room review. But pretty much every single studio can become an interconnecting room the way they've designed it. It's really smart. And actually great for multi-generational channel, although like I said, there's not really anything here for families. You're basically relying on excursions for all the entertainment. And yeah, it's still, I think, be an amazing experience for kids, just because of the destination and what you're doing in each of the destinations, and because the staff are so hands-on and lovely. But yeah, it's potentially better options. Okay, and now here we have another whirlpool, which is bigger than the one upstairs. So you can come sit down here and you can get more sun lounges. Yeah, Aussie. Yeah. And yeah, you can obviously sit down here. It gets a pretty spectacular view, especially when a ship's moving. You can see out both sides quite easily. You just don't get as active bar service because you're miles away from the bar. And yeah, otherwise it's awesome. It's my preferred spa for sure. You can look up the the front of the ship there. So So the only thing I think I haven't really shown you is the bridge. One of the cool things that they tout with Windstar is that the bridge is more or less always open. You can just walk in and just check it out whenever you feel like it, as long as they haven't closed it off because of them, you know, about to dock at port or anchor or something, you know, logistically is going on. But in there is the bridge. So let's talk a little bit about the route itself and the destination, French Polynesia. You probably don't need to be convinced that it's a beautiful, beautiful place, a natural landscape, this stunning tropical island landscape that just bursts out of the ocean and is just thriving with life and energy. And then this beautiful aqua seas that go out around the kind of out to the reef and in the deeper water beyond that. So I did an excursion every single day, including one day I did 2 excursions as we went around the 5 islands, and all the islands are reasonably different from each other. Now I'm going to, it's going to be too hard to really go through all of the excursions in this video because it'll video go forever. So what I'm actually going to do is I did videos of each of the excursions as I did them. So I will start putting those up on the channel. So keep an eye on that so you can get reviews of the individual excursions. But needless to say, I stuck with predominantly the culture-based ones. I really wanted to learn about this place. So these include the Moorea 4x4 adventure, the Raiatea cultural cruise, the Bora Bora Island Discovery Tour. I did the Huahine Sacred Sites and Legendary Places. I did a tour of Tahaa, so there's the 5 islands. And I also did a tour of the Bora Bora. So that was all about looking at the sacred sites, learning about the culture, visiting, you know, locals at work, whether that was at oyster farms or at vanilla plantations, or in shops, and just kind of meeting people, trying some of the foods, going onto farms, seeing some of the wildlife. So I focused on that side of things, and I found it absolutely fascinating. The guides were top notch, just brilliant, so full of information, so willing to give that information. And even though there was some overlap on some of the excursions, like, you know, like this one will go to vanilla plantation, and the next one will go to vanilla plantation, and some will go to oyster farm, and the next one will go to oyster farm. There was kind of a few that kind of crossed over, even if they were on different islands. But what you learnt was different, and what you saw was different. So I never really felt like, oh, here we go again at any point, even though I did so many excursions. And I was just, yeah, really happy with the choice that I made to do those excursions, because most of the towns or most of the ports, there's not much there. Sometimes there's absolutely nothing. Like, you just kind of get off and literally someone might have set up a roadside stand and that's it. There's a few places like Raiatea and Bora Bora where you can kind of get up into the city, but there's really not much there either. Like, you can probably walk 10 minutes in one direction, 10 minutes in the other, and you've pretty much seen it all. So there's not a whole lot just kind of there. So being able to do the excursions and kind of get around the island and get to places that were hard to get to meant you got to see all this really cool stuff, and especially some of the Polynesian historical sacred site stuff was just fascinating. And seeing it for real and just learning about it from a local was just really, really great. So I do recommend that if you can. Some of the other people I saw like doing things like hiring e-bikes, and so they could just ride off on their own. I don't think car hire would be particularly easy. I didn't see too many people doing that. But people would got like, you can get a fair distance on an e-bike, so that's definitely an option as well. Plus there's a lot of water-based activities that you can, if you got the funds, you can do jet skiing. I did some boat tours. I think it was Bora Bora. I ended up circumnavigating it 3 times. Once on one boat, once on a different boat, and then once on a bus as part of a tour. Now, I did do a couple of more activity-based stuff. So I did do some snorkeling. I did the snorkeling with the manta rays. That was fantastic. Really, really, really good. I got really close, like nice, close and personal. Got a really good sense of just being with them. And then we went on to do some further snorkeling in other areas after that. Saw eagle rays, saw stacks of fish. The wildlife, the marine life is just amazing. The visibility is really good. And the gear that they provide you really good too. So yeah, I got some snorkeling in as well, and I also did some scuba diving, which was a little bit hectic because I had done it once before a long time ago, and they kind of just threw you off the boat and sunk you to the bottom and said good luck, good luck. But it ended up being super fun. I'm really, really happy that I did it. So that's what I got up to, and I got to tell you, it was somewhat exhausting, I will say. Like I was loving it, but I was also like, wow, I'm doing a lot. So, you know, maybe I shouldn't have done one every day. Maybe I should take it easy. I tend to do them in the mornings because I'll get up, I'll be fresh, I'll do it, and I'll come back and relax in the afternoon. And I think that was probably a good way to do it, but doing kind of those early starts every single day did end up grinding me down a little bit. So maybe I should have just left a day free here or there just to kind of recoup a little bit. But by the same token, I don't know which one I'd swap out because I enjoyed them all so much. And by the end, I just felt completely full in terms of my cultural understanding and learning about French Polynesia. And I just feel like I know the place so well now, not just physically, having gone around it all and been to all the places, but just also culturally and historically. I feel full, and that's for a cruise, for a small cruise that can get into these tiny places, and it's definitely more destination focused and almost expedition in many ways. I think that's really important that those tours deliver, and yeah, like overall, all of them were really, really good. Also, I stayed after the cruise. I had a couple of days before the first flight back, and I ended up staying in Intercontinental Tahiti, which I've done a review of. You can find that on the channel. But there was a little interesting thing, was that you could get a last excursion on the day that you depart from Papeete. And look, it was probably the weakest of all the excursions. Like, it wasn't that thrilling, but we still did learn some stuff, and I got to see some of Papeete. But what happens at the end of it, they drop you at the hotel, and basically you get off the cruise boat and you've got, 4 or so hours before you can check into your room. So, and this tour went for 4 hours and cost about $30 more than catching a cab. Like, it was marginally different. So that I think could be an option for you if you just want to, kill a bit of time and still learn and do some stuff and not really spend that much more money than it's going to cost you anyway to get to the Intercontinental or the Hilton, which was the other one that they drove you back to, or indeed the airport as well. So those were the 3 drop-off spots. Something else to consider. Outside of the excursions, there were also 2 other really, really awesome event experiences that happened on the Dreams of Tahiti tour, and they were private islands. So there was one just off the island, just off Tahaa, and basically from about, it was a lunch. It was a beach barbecue lunch basically, and they took you on Zodiacs from the cruise ship to this little island, which they then basically moved the entire operation of the ship onto this island, and they did this really fantastic beach barbecue. It was absolutely delicious. It was so diverse in terms of the food offerings. Everything was really yummy. And they also set up a bar there as well, but the actual location was just awesome. And we got the perfect weather. And basically this island is surrounded by a reef that's filled with, everything from sharks and stingrays to all kinds of different types of fish and coral. It's really easy swimming. Then there's the sand on the beach itself. They've got lounges like sun lounges set up the whole way around, palm trees swaying. It was just paradise. It was probably almost my favourite moment of the entire trip, just kind of sitting there and having a few drinks, having a good feed, and just soaking up that unbelievable landscape of colours that you get in French Polynesia with that tropical water and those beaches. So that day was really, really, really good. And then they did it again in Bora Bora at night. So they had a kind of cultural evening event where they took everybody. So they did it again in Bora Bora, where they took everyone off the ship, moved the whole entire operation onto another private island, but this time at sunset. And you got there, it was such a good sunset too. It was absolutely stunning, and they brought everybody over on Zodiacs to the beach. You got there, they had a band set up, they had all these tables set up, they had this huge, delicious buffet experience set up, as well as, of course, with a bar as well. It was a much bigger island than the beach day island, so there was a bit to explore. Lots of bats up in the sky, I remember, but just, yeah, everybody kind of soaked in the sunset, then just went back and had this fantastic dinner, some drinks, and then there was this amazing cultural show just full of dancing, but also fire jugglers, and those guys were absolutely insane. Like acrobatic dancing, fire left, right and center. They got guests from the cruise up to get involved as well with some of the dancers. And again, it was just such a fantastic experience. We lucked out with the weather for sure, but you know, this was just part of the cruise, and these 2 particular days I think would be probably in everyone's top 5, both days, both islands, top 5 experiences from the cruise. They were just so much fun. These standard suite rooms have actually got a really cool setup with most of the rooms. So you've got 416 and 414 here. So they're 2 separate rooms, and I don't know the people staying in 414. But if you want to, you can close this off. So basically every room, every suite can become a connected suite quite easily, which is a great design. I love it. All right, let's have a look inside. So 416 obviously on deck 4. And wait till you see this. It's a really, really beautiful room. So the thing you probably know straight away is the size of it. So you got these classic staterooms that you have on most cruise ships, a fair bit thinner than this. So all the Windstar will tell you that all of their rooms are suites. They're not staterooms. And while the functionality and everything is pretty much the same, there's definitely a lot more generosity in the space here, and it's very well received. Like, I really like it. So obviously the first thing you walk into is the bed. I think in other rooms maybe the bed is near the window. I feel like that might swap a bit just from walking past as people are cleaning. But the bed's really comfortable. It's firm but fair, as in, like, it feels like it's got structure to it, but yeah, it's not too soft, but it's not too firm either. So I'm really happy with it. I'm also happy with the pillows, which come in kind of like a medium and a soft. So you can kind of adjust that to whatever you need, depending on your personal preference. The only thing about the bed that I'm not liking is that this can be split into a twin, and the fissure down the middle of the bed has opened up on me in the middle of the night just a little bit, especially if I just like get a knee or a foot in there where I'm tossing and turning. It has opened up a little bit on me, but then again, usually I wouldn't be in the bed by myself, so I probably wouldn't be sprawled across the entire thing. But yeah, otherwise I found the bed really, really comfortable. Now you've got a little office situation over here, a little chair and a desk that you can sit and do some work, and obviously a rather large mirror, and drawers everywhere. There's plenty of storage in here. You've got a hairdryer in one of the drawers as well. And then over here you've got another second section, and the reason I'm showing these two sections is because this is really your only two power points. So you've got these two over here, and so you've got a European, or a Type 3 I think it is, and I think that's US. So you've only got those two over here, and not really much space to kind of sit anything up, although I do love the flower arrangement. That's kind of all you've got over there. And then you've got this over here, which is another European, so that's your round pins, like so, and two USB A's, not C's, there to charge with. So for me personally, my setup is I've got one of these Anchors 165 watt things. It's got 4 USB-Cs in the front and 2 USB-As over here. So I've just brought this with me, and I've just plugged into one thing, and this can charge everything, and this space is more or less enough for it. But yeah, not a whole lot of charging places, especially when you're on holiday and you're trying to charge cameras and video cameras and phones and laptops and everything, and there's none really near the bed. I don't know if you can use that. I don't know, it doesn't look like a PowerPoint to me. I haven't tried it, but yeah, so nothing beside the bed, so you can't really have your phone charging by your bed at night, which is a bit of a bummer. Now we'll continue on into this area. So obviously a nice big lounge space here, and technically on cruise ships I don't tend to use the lounge that often, but I have a lot actually on this cruise. This is a really solid piece of furniture. Like that's stone. It's a really solid table, and last night this whole boat was really rocking and nothing moved, which is a sign of some quality furniture. But yeah, so a really nice little sitting space in here. They've got lots of mirrors, so that's a mirror there. You'll see little mirrors in the trim around here, and that just kind of allows the light to really bounce around, keeps it nice and open. Now I've seen in other rooms that this can fold out into a rather large, or basically queen size sofa bed. I can't vouch for how comfortable it is, but there's obviously plenty of space in here. And they do like take it down and take it up each day for you, so you don't lose your space. Over here we've got a bit of a pantry with a whole bunch of glasses and cups. All the bits and pieces that you might need. I like this little board, like a cheese board. Corkscrew, and there is a fridge as well, which does have, it's not a big fridge. Obviously you don't really need it, they've got everything you want upstairs, but a few bits and pieces in it. If you're on the all-in package, which I am, you can just drink those without any additional costs. And then over here you've got a bit more going on as well. So some more storage options should you need it, but I'm about to show you there's a walk-in wardrobe, so don't need too much of this. Oh, geez, I just broke it. Did I? No, it's just gone along. It's got a rack down there. Okay, I'll fix that later. Okay. Now this particular room doesn't have a balcony, so it's just got the window here, which is looking out over Raiatea at the moment in French Polynesia. And that's my first room I think I've ever been on that doesn't have a balcony on a cruise. River cruises I have had similar rooms, but on an ocean cruise. And yeah, I mean, it's really nice to be able to go stand out on the deck and just take a photo without having to take it through all the salt and spray of the window, or get some fresh air into the room. So I do miss that, but it's a large window. and it's quite, it's, you know, it's nice to not have a porthole, that's for sure. And it's got a little sitting spot here. And the only thing, being a tall guy, my eye line's here, so I can't see up standing. But you got two types of curtains, so you can just basically draw this across and have kind of a bit of a filtered look, or you can bring it in across the whole curtain, which is really heavy, really good quality, and does a very good job of blocking out the light, to the point where there's a few mornings I've woken up and didn't even think it was morning yet, and then turned out it was a beautiful blue sky outside. But yeah, it looks so much space. That's the key thing. Like, I'm almost 2 meters tall and I can lie along this without hitting anything. So that's awesome. Okay, now let's go across to over here. This is where things get really opulent. You got an actual walk-in wardrobe. It's narrow, but an absolute boon, especially for the longer cruises. You can just have all your stuff kind of out of the way, packed up. I mean, you can see how empty my room is. You know, usually I've got bags open left, right and centre, and clothes everywhere and so forth. Here, different, although I've done my typical lazy male thing and just gone and dumped my bag there and operated out of it. But if my wife was here, this would be all hanging clothes. So that's really great. And it's also good, so you can see like this kind of like, I don't know what it is, like a brassy finish around the entire thing, even in the door jambs down here. Everything's super solid. So you've got like these really good magnets like holding it all together. So they've really thought about making sure that things don't rattle and roll, and stay open even in stay where you put them even in rough conditions. So I'm pretty happy with that. And overall, I really like the trim. It's kind of like this almost, it's not whitewash, but it's kind of got that surfy, beachy vibe going around with the wood and the whites and the finish and the navy blues and everything. It just feels really coastal, and it just, I think it's a really beautiful room. Really, really nice. Geez, I really do love that extra space. Righto, and the last thing we've got in here is the bathroom. So really interesting design in here, really smart design, I think. I love the way that the toilet kind of comes out at an angle. So you've basically got all of this space. Again, that's a big man talking, but yeah, just being able to kind of not be squished in to like a little narrow rectangle and just have that kind of freedom it's just a really smart design. I really like it. We've got 2 sinks, as you can see, his and hers, or his and his and hers and hers, whatever. And another nice big mirror. Plenty of towels are provided, and hanging spots. There's towels all over the deck as well for the pools and so forth. And then this particular room has a bathtub. Now, I generally don't use bathtubs, but I've actually used it twice already on this cruise, and we're about halfway through. So, but the main reason I've used it is because, and I'll show you, you've got the shower nozzle over here and the tap down there, but the bath puts you up so high that at my height, when I get in here, I can't stand, see? So I can't get the shower above my head without really kind of putting myself in a compromised position. So this is not unusual for me. This happens in every other hotel, and I've gone in, and happened to me on Disney Wonder cruise as well. But yeah, that's just kind of the negative of having the bath, is that if you're really tall, you're not going to fit. I also found this kind of system that they've got for the hot and cold really hard to work. It seems to be really hard to work out which way to have the temperature. I finally got it right, so now I can just leave it. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird system. Hardly a deal breaker, but that is my experience. There we go, so that's the bathroom. So overall, really great room. The air conditioning has been very, very quiet. I haven't heard anything from pipes or anything like that. I haven't barely heard next door at all, barely heard upstairs. So in terms of all that kind of stuff, it's been really, really good as well. And the thing to note about this room as well is 416 is there's no room on this side. In fact, it's the elevator. It's right on the other side of this wall. And when I looked at the room plan, I was really nervous about that. I thought, oh, here we go. I'm going to be hearing the elevator go up and down, up and down, up and down all day, all night. And I haven't heard it once. So that's a good bit of information, I think, if you're worried about that. I have not heard the elevator at all, despite the fact of being right on the wall there, which again speaks to a lot of effort in the workmanship to insulate that properly. Oh, the TV as well. So this can come out and be angled towards the bed. In fact, it was interesting, the cleaner, Anita, who's absolutely lovely, really, really lovely, Anita. The screen is back like this at the moment because she's cleaned this morning, but then when I came in late at night, she'd pulled the TV out and angled it towards the bed. So I thought that was a nice little, you know, 1%er that makes a difference, as well as kind of the flower and the fruit bowl and just a little bit of extra touches here and there that have just made it feel great. So one of the really lovely touches that Windstar does is every single night I come back to the room, there's a little gift, and it's something. Sometimes it's just like a nice little chocolate, but today it's a really nice one. It's some handmade soap from Bora Bora. It's a block of soap. It actually smells fantastic. Vanilla. It's just a really nice little bonus, I guess. Just part of the service, but I really like it. I think it's awesome, and yeah, like the first couple of times it comes, you're like, oh, that's really nice, and then you don't expect it, and then today I completely forgot about it, and then I come in and there's this just sitting on my bed. Lovely. Well, today is the last day of my Dreams of Tahiti Windstar cruise, so I think it's time to wrap up my thoughts. And I've had a fantastic time, really, really good time. I think it's absolutely the crew and the people that have been on this cruise with me, which have been the highlights of the experience, and then obviously the destinations you can get into. I feel like I really understand this place. I think the combination of the excursions with the ability to just get into each of the destinations has been critical to that. I just feel like a sponge. I just feel like I've absorbed so much, and I really understand this place, and that's something I'm really going to take home with me. I think they could have done a few bits and pieces a bit better. In particular, I thought there was like a bit of a lack of entertainment on board, or just things to do, like organising a games night, or organising cards, or trivia, or just karaoke, whatever, little things like that could definitely be improved. I feel like, the cocktails are a little too kind of watered down. I think they need to work on that and just fix that up. I think the rest of the alcohol's been great, like, good top shelf vodkas, top shelf scotch, top shelf bourbon, and particularly in the Rose Bar. And but yeah, those cocktails I think are a little bit on the weak side. I do really wish that they opened the spas a bit longer. I think that closing those at 7 o'clock most nights has been a bit of an issue. But overall, it does feel luxury. The food's been consistently good, and I feel like I've made friends, with the staff, and I feel like it's been a very one-on-one experience, which you just don't get on these big cruises. But just had access to the country, and access to the staff, and access to the knowledge that I needed really easily. So it's my first Windstar cruise experience, and overwhelmingly a thumbs up. Had a really good time, and I would happily do another one, absolutely. Probably a note for families. I think the kids have kind of struggled. If they're not into the cultural side of it, then I think they'll be wanting for things to do a little bit, because it's not a big pool. There's no sports on board. There's not much kind of to do, other than to kind of watch movies, read a book, relax in the sun. So that's something to note. So older kids for sure. I don't know, there might be an age cut-off. Someone told me there's an age cut-off of 13. I think that's pretty good. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Dreams of Tahiti cruise from Windstar, and from the beautiful French Polynesia. It's time for me to say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure you keep an eye on the channel. I'll be doing heaps of content, putting a lot of stuff up from this journey, and I hope this has helped. I'm Chris Stead. Check you later.